will ask me after the completion of it. Okay, so I Rakesh Jain from Gambia University. Today I am going to teach you about the block diagram reduction techniques, basics. After the completion of this lecture, you will be able to understand what are the basic rules to solve any, to find out any transfer function of a block representation of a diagram with the help of these rules. After the completion of this lecture, you will be able to understand the blocks whenever are in cascade or in parallel or in feedback. So how to find out the transfer functions. So let's begin our journey with this MS Pen file. So see, what is the meaning? The block diagram reduction technique is actually used to find out the transfer function of any block representation. Used to find out the transfer function basically. Simplification, for the simplification of the block representation, we use the block diagram reduction. As the name implies, reduction means decrease. So block diagram decrease, the complex diagram will be simplified, and then we will find out the basic need of that, as asked in the questions, like the transfer function. So we can see to use the complexity of block diagram representation. Of any of a system. Here the meaning of the system is to reduce the block complexity of block diagram representation of a system. We use the block diagram reduction techniques. Okay. Basically used to find out the transfer function, to find the transfer function of a system, to find the means control system. Okay. And transfer function, I have already been taught you. Generally, the output is represented by the CS and the input is represented by the RS. Then the ratio of CS upon RS is known as the transfer function. Instead of CS and RS, if some other form of abbreviation is there, then you should remember that the ratio of the output divided by the input for any control system is known as the transfer function of that system. Okay. So block diagram reduction techniques contain some rules. First of all, the block diagrams are all the block diagrams contains this kind of blocks. So what are the general rules? Let's suppose there are two blocks. One gain is G1S, one is G1S, and the second one is. You should remember that S is just to represent that all those works of control system. For the block diagram reduction techniques, we generally use the S domain. So G1S and G2S, let's suppose two blocks. So instead of this that S, I just write down G1 and G2. But in questions in numericals, you will find out S also. So don't be confused. We are just to represent the. So if the blocks are in cascade, like this is a form of cascading, both are continuous to each other. So this is a form of cascading. So whenever the blocks are in cascade, so the first rule for block diagram reduction technique, I am talking you that blocks are in cascade. If the blocks are in cascade, then how to simplify them? Then remember, whenever the blocks are in cascade, just multiply the gain of those blocks, and if the number of blocks will be converted into a single blocks, in which the gain of that single block will be equal to the multiplication of all those gain of blocks. What I want to say, whenever you find this kind of structure that the blocks are in cascade, then it will be converted into a single block. Those blocks which are in cascade means continuous. So G1 block and G2 block are cascade to each other. So they will be converted into a single block in which the gain of that block is equal to the multiplication of the gain of all those blocks. Okay. So let's suppose G1, G2 and G3 are three blocks are in cascade, then what will happen? So that will be converted into a single block whose gain is G1, G2, G3. Like in this diagram which is in front of you, G1 and G2 are two blocks in cascade. So they will be converted for simplification during the time of reduction technique. to simplify the or to find out the transfer function of that representation of the diagram, we will use the rule such that those blocks which are in cascade, we just convert them into a single block in which the gain of that single block will be equal to the multiplication of all those gain of those blocks. The second rule for that is blocks are in parallel. If the blocks are in parallel, then what will happen? So let's suppose this is a block whose gain is G1. Let's suppose we have one more block whose gain is G2. Here we have one more block whose gain is G2. So this circle and having a cross sign or having a plus or minus, having a summation sign, that is known as. Remember one thing before the all those rules, that in any arrow, if you have any dot sign, the dot representation is for some other. That is known as pick off point or take off point. Remember this term. Some terms you should remember before we analyze the techniques. You should remember a dot on any arrow, that is known as pick off point. Pick off or take off point. Remember this. Pick off or take off point. Okay. And what is the summing junction? Summing junction is like this one: a circle having a summation sign, either it have a summation sign or it have a cross sign with plus and minus over there. Okay. So these two are known as either this or either this. That is known as summing junction. Remember this. First of all, know whenever I use the term summing junction, you should understand that what I want to say. So that is summing junction. So before the analyze these two terms, you should remember. So see, G1 and G2, both inputs come from the same place and output will reach at the same place. Output will reach at the same place. So what will happen? They will be added to each other. So whenever, that is known as blocks are in parallel. That is known as blocks are in parallel. So whenever blocks are in parallel, then what will happen? They will be converted into a single block. They will be converted into a single block. They will be converted into a single block and they will be added to each other. Now this addition depends on the sign on that summing junction. See, the G2 will come with the plus sign and G1 also come with the plus sign, then G1 plus G2 is okay. If G1 is come plus sign, let's suppose G1 come with plus sign and G2 come with minus sign, then it will be written G1 plus minus G2. Okay, whatever the sign of that, G1 plus minus G2. Also, the rule is same that they will be added to each other, but the polarity of that gain depends on what is the sign in the summing junction. Okay. So it will be G1 minus G2. So don't be confused, they will be subtracted. Actually, they are added, but due to the polarity of those, they will be subtracted. So that is another thing. But what is the rule? Whenever blocks are in cascade, they will be added to each other. Whenever the blocks are in cascade, they will be added to each other. Okay. These are two rules. Now the third rule I am talking about, so that I remove this one. So now see the third rule. Feedback. To find out the transfer function, this is very important, see very carefully. Okay. See this rule very carefully for all those methods. Okay. So the output is C, the input is R, the block gain is G, and there is a summing junction because some part of the output whenever come to the input. I have already been told you about the closed loop control system. So see, some part of the input, some part of the output that is represented by H is feedback to the input. Okay. Now, how to write down the transfer function of this kind of question? How to write down the transfer function of this kind of question? So whenever there is a feedback, so remember the rule. Forward gain, forward gain. This G is known as forward gain, and this H is known as feedback gain. Remember these two terms. The forward gain and feedback gain. Feedback gain is what? Whatever the value of the gain that comes from the output towards the input side, that is known as feedback. So whatever write down the inside the block, that is known as feedback gain. Don't remember that H is always feedback gain. It may be X2. Instead of H, if I write down X2, then what is the feedback gain? X2 is my feedback gain. So feedback gain is H, and this G is known as forward gain. This G, whatever comes from the input side towards the output side directly, that is known as forward gain. So C upon R is what? Always remember the transfer function of any feedback loop is forward gain. See very carefully. Forward gain divided by divided by 1 plus or minus, this is very important, plus or minus. So what the sign depends on what is the sign of the feedback path in summing junction. Forward multiply by feedback, forward multiply by feedback. Just to decrease some sign. Okay. So forward again divided by 1 plus or minus divided forward multiplied by feedback. Now plus or minus depends on, see very carefully. With this red color I am showing you. If the feedback is with negative sign, then here we will use positive sign. Okay. If the feedback is with positive sign, then in formula we use negative sign. With the same color I am showing you at both sides. If the red color means negative sign in the feedback in the summing junction, then in formula we will use positive sign. If positive sign in the summing junction, then we will use the negative sign. So opposite sign we will use. Okay. So what I want to say, the C upon R is equal to, let's suppose there is positive sign. So I remove both the color symbol. You should remember only that opposite sign we will use in the formula. Remember this thing. So let's suppose here the feedback is with negative sign. So what is the transfer function of this? The transfer function is equal to forward gain. What is the forward gain? Forward gain is represented by G divided by 1 plus or minus. So what is the sign of the feedback? Sign of the feedback is negative. It means in formula I will use positive. Okay. Forward gain multiplied by feedback gain. So what is the forward gain? Forward gain is G, and what is the feedback gain? Feedback gain is H. So G multiplied by H, that is G. Okay. So remember this third rule, that will be very much important during the time of numericals. So this is your third rule. And what is the fourth rule? So to understand the fourth rule, I just remove this third rule. Now see very carefully the fourth rule. The fourth rule is related with move a pick-off point. Movement of a pick-off point after the block or before the. So moving a pick-off point back to a block. So moving a pick-off point back. The name of the rule is moving a pick-off point back. In main examinations, it may also ask that write down all the rules of block diagram reduction technique. So you have to write down all those rules. So just to see, move a block, move a pick-off point. Pick-off point is same as take-off point. Take-off point or pick-off point. Okay, but that's represented by a dot. Okay. Move a pick-off point back, and before a block. Move a pickoff point before a block or after a block or back. Back from the before. What is the meaning of this one? Let's suppose we have two blocks. Let's suppose we have two blocks. One is G1, whose game is G1. The second one is second block contains the game G2. And let's suppose in between them there is a pickoff point which goes to some other gas X, let's suppose. Okay? Connected with other blocks or anything. We don't want to discuss them that where it is connected, but let's suppose it is connected somewhere else. Okay. I just want that this pickoff point will move before the block. Then what will happen? Whenever a pickoff point, remember this rule, whenever a pickoff point move before a block means just move back, then whatever the gain of that block before which the pickoff point move, that gain, that block will come with that line. That block will come with that line of pickoff point. What I want to say, see very carefully, very carefully. What I want to say, I just want, there are two blocks, one is G1 and one is G2. So first of all, I just draw the same blocks. 0, second block is G2. Second block is G2. The diagram is same as the left hand diagram. I do not do anything till now. Now, what I want to say, I want to move this pickoff point. This is pickoff point before the block, before this G1 block. Then what will happen? It will move because this is a rule that we can move a pickoff point before or after the block. So I just move, but instead of directly X come like the same, because this line contains the X now. This line contains X with arrow here, so it will be come with the arrow X, but also the block is also come. The block is also come with it. Okay, so whenever we just wish to move any block, any pickoff point or takeoff point before a block, then that block is also come with that line. Okay, this is a rule. This is it. Okay, we will use it in numericals. You will see later on. But remember that whenever a pickoff point move before a block, then that block will also come directly. Then the next one is move a pickoff point after a block. Yeah, forward. Moving a pickoff point forward. Forward means after a block. So what I want to say, see very carefully. Then only two rules will be remaining after this rule. We will start the numericals. Pickoff point is also known as takeoff point. Don't be confused between pickoff and takeoff. Forward. Forward means after a block. What I want to say, let's suppose the same kind of questions. Let's suppose you have two blocks G1 and G2. Okay, I just remove little bit, decrease the size. Okay. Don't be confused. To create some space, I just move there, but they are all are saved in recording, so you will see easily. Okay, let's suppose you have two blocks. One is G1 and one is G2. And you have a takeoff point or pickoff point. What I want to say, you just want to move this pickoff point after a block. So after the G2, I want to come. Before the movement, the diagram is like this, as like the same diagram. But what will happen whenever I wish to move the block? after a block, wish to move a pick point after the block, then it will be easily moved. But remember one thing, the block will also come in reciprocal manner, in one upon. Okay, this is the only change. What I want to see now that I am drawing the converted diagram in which the pickoff point which was available in between G1 and G2 now move after the G2. This was the previous diagram. Now I just move this pickoff point after the block. So it means here I just move. So definitely line and whatever the value I write down here will also come. But with a block, but in reciprocal manner. So it will move after the G2, it will move after the G2. So G2 will come in reciprocal, 1 upon. Okay, so this one is the fifth rule. Remember one more time I am repeating. Whenever a pickoff point move before a block, then that block also comes with that line. Okay, whenever a pickoff point move after a block, then that block also come in reciprocal manner with that line. Okay, 1 upon. Okay, now the sixth rule, and after that only one rule will be remaining, and we will start our new class. So what is the sixth rule? Move a summing junction after it. In any block diagram representation, there is always blocks, three things always available. Blocks, summing junction and pickoff. So for the blocks, there are two rules. If cascade, then multiply them. If parallel, then add them. For the pickoff point, there are two rules. If you want to move the pickoff point before a block, then the block will also come directly. If you wish to move the pickoff point after a block, then the block will also come in reciprocal. Similarly, the third thing which is available always in any block diagram, any numerical or block diagram representation or reduction technique is summing junction. So you can move the summing junction also after a block and before a block. So how it will be possible? You will see this one. Whenever you will wish to move the pickoff point, the summing junction before a block or after a block, then remember one thing, like this one. What I want to say, like this one. Let's suppose this is a diagram. Here this is a summing junction. Okay, here this is a summing junction in which any, and I just wish to move this after the block. Okay, so let's suppose I just wish to move this summing junction after this G1 block, okay? Or we can do one more change, that let's suppose it is in between these two blocks, so it will be more easy to understand. Let's suppose there is a summing junction which is available in between these two blocks. Okay, and I just want to move this summing junction after this G2 block. Okay, so how it will be possible? So remember, whenever this I just want to move this summing junction after this block. So just opposite to that pickoff point, whenever a summing junction move after the block, then that block will become directly. In pickoff point, whenever the pickoff point move after a block, then the block will come in reciprocal manner. But here it will become directly. So The first block is G1 as it is. Then, because this summing junction will move after the block, that's why this total thing will be moved. So, this total thing will be moved after this G2 block. So, G2 will become here first. Now, this summing junction will become here because I move this, but with that block also. So, what was the block? The block was G2. Okay, so whenever the summing junction move after a block, the block will come directly. Okay, with that summing junction. Now the last rule and the seventh rule, because timing is very short, that's why. Seventh rule is move at summing junction back. That means before a block. So let's suppose I have two blocks. See very fastly. So I will. Let's suppose there are two blocks. One is G1. Then let's suppose there is a summing junction in which one input from any other side, any value is also coming. X, Y, Z, anything, G1, G2, H, anything. And there is another block G2. Okay. Now, according to this, what I want to show you, I want to show you that let's suppose I wish that this summing junction will be moved back to this block G. Then, is it possible? Yes, is it possible? The block just come with the summing junction in reciprocal manner. Okay, just the opposite type of statement compared with the previous pick-off point movement before a block, because whenever the pick-off point move before a block, then the block will directly come. But here the block come in reciprocal. So at the starting, first the summing junction will be come because we just move it before the block. Then then this summing junction will be come with the reciprocal value of the gain of that block, before which I just move that this summing junction. Then the remaining blocks will be come.
Sir,
Wait for a while. Kindly mute your mobile.
sir,
Wait for a while. Kindly mute your mobile. And the second block is G2. Okay. So these are the 7 rules which are very important to understand the block diagram prediction techniques. I hope you understand all those rules, and from next lecture we will start to solve the numericals of those lectures. So I, Rakesh Jain from Gyanwar University, wants to say thanks for watching the video. Kindly like and subscribe the video. Thank you very much.